Hey guys, Sam here. I'm in Bodyworks again, and this is to train back. So it's a full back day workout, and I'm going to start with the pull-ups, as they were such a disaster last time round after doing T-bar row first. But alternating what I start with, because things are more or less in balance with what I'm trying to do with my back. So I'm going to switch it round, start with the pull-ups, get a full back routine in here today, and then sum it up at the end. I feel like I've lost a fair bit of strength on pull-ups, but it can only improve from here, so I'm going to stick with it. Yeah, there's definitely a problem, a little rethink to perhaps start on pull-ups in every workout with the strength decline that much. Because the rowing was about back to where it was, judging by last week, but pull-ups is a long way off, so I think we'll have to switch the order of things going forward. So I'm moving from the pull-ups to the lat pull-down. This is a similar procedure to what I do on a lot of exercises where I'm falling out the bottom of the desired rep range. I'm going sort of 8 to 12 on upper body usually. And if I find I'm falling out the bottom of that, I'll lower the weight. But since I can't immediately lower my body weight, I'm going to switch to an equivalent exercise that's going to provide less resistance on the weight stack than what my body weight would have been, but will be resistance at approximately the same angle. So I'm doing the equivalent of dropping the weight on the same exercise, in this case by actually changing the exercise. But it's a way of doing it that I thought I'd explain while it's happening. But I think to prevent this, I'll be starting with pull-ups in future, not my rowing. And this will be the last set, as it's the same sort of exercise at the same sort of angle as the pull downs. I'll make 4 sets in total when you take both those exercises. It's my usual number of sets. This is what's going to be the real test for me, whether I can manage my heaviest on T-bar rows again, doing it second. As, I did it the other way around last time, and I was getting my full when starting on it, but this time it is second, and I think I want to keep it second, seeing how poorly the pull-ups are going for me just then and last time. So we'll switch them round and see what I can do on the T-bar second. It's 1 or 2 reps less than what it would be starting off on it, but it's going better than having the pull-ups second. So I'm going to stick with this, try another set on heavy, and then a back off set. grip's taking a battering today. Now this machine here is one of my absolute favourites. It's the Total Back by Paramount, and you're not going to see this in too many places. So I make the best of my trip here by using it. And when you use it on the row setting rather than the pull down setting, it's very similar to a high row machine. It sort of feels like in between a high row machine and a barbell row, but I'm just getting my breath back from those T-bar rows because I always find that pretty intense, but I like to lift heavy on those. Sort of power exercise and overall strength as well. Just then I got talking to some youngsters that come in the gym very new to this, and the lad's 14, and he's asking me for like advice at his stage. I think just the fact that you're in a serious gym and like training hard, and as long as you're safe, you can't go wrong if you start that early. That's my honest view on it. But it's really nice to see like people of all ages in this place having really good training, and I started quite like young when I got into the gym, was first 17, but I didn't take it so seriously to start with and had a lot of years of distractions to the point that I could have got to quicker if I'd applied myself more, to be totally truthful. But I think at that age, like 14, if you're just in a serious gym, as long as you're safe and you're working hard, like that's enough to start with. But he's asking me for advice, and we're having a nice chat there, and I was just sort of saying, well, you don't want to burden yourself with trying to figure out too many things at once if you're completely new to this, and I'd say any age in your teens, you don't want to like overanalyze it, paralysis by analysis type situation, or trying to learn about things that aren't relevant to your level of experience just yet, and that sort of thing. So I basically told him to focus on the 10 to 12 kind of most fundamental lifting movements, like leg press, pull-ups, squats, deadlifts, barbell rows, dumbbell press, overhead press, all of that. 10 or 12 of those, and really just focus on doing them safely and getting good at those and progressing those, and then just don't do a set meal plan to start with, but just eat whole food and learn how to cook, like learn cooking methods for dealing with real food. Because a lot of people lack that these days, and just that would be the best start ever. So yeah, if you were part of my younger audience, perhaps that's helpful, just to concentrate on those bits for the first 6 months or so. I'm about ready now to proceed. Love this one. Next exercise here is going to be the cable row, which is a little bit more the lower back. Once I've done this, I've got pretty good coverage of the whole lot. So the trapezius, more from the T-bar rows, the lats, more from the pull-downs and the pull-ups, as long as I manage them. And then all the kind of mid-back stuff with the paramount row, back thickness, but more the lats again, and a little bit of the spinal erectors lower back from the cable row, and that's a good routine for back. If you're keeping it medium length, I'd say a long back routine could be 5 or 6 exercises. 2 or 3 would be short, and this would be about in the middle, about me saving my arms for tomorrow. That's the plan. So this will be my last back exercise today, and then if you stay with the video, I've got a few more thoughts on beginners actually, because that conversation sparked some ideas in my mind about what phases you go through in learning all of this, mastering all the different topics, and in what order. So if that's to your interest, make sure you stick around, and that'll be in the summing up section of today's video. But I want to full stack this before I'm moving on to that, so here goes. Hit that again. And last one. So that brings me to the end of the workout, guys. I hope you like that. If you wanted an example of back training, just coming back to this beginner's business here, I was thinking about it even more as I ended up talking to another guy who's basically one of the biggest guys in here, and got talking, and he said that he actually used to be like nearly 150 kilos, like super overweight, and you know, not in an extreme bodybuilding way, like, because he's not my kind of lanky height, so he's very heavy for the shorter height. And he said that he went the other direction after calorie counting and became about 100 kilos less than that, because he went anorexic like through that. But you wouldn't be able to tell to look at him that he got really overweight or dangerously underweight in either direction. Just from looking at him, he's just one of the most muscular, strongest guys in here. So I just sort of wanted to throw that in there, not to get too personal about things. Obviously I'm not going to name who it is or anyone know who it is or anything like that. It's not to be personal about things, but more to serve as an example for perhaps someone watching this channel that is more beginner, or maybe for whatever reason feels self-conscious about going to a gym, particularly a more like bodybuilding orientated place like this, and where I normally train. And it just served as a nice little vignette, I thought, of someone who you'd never be able to tell anything about that, and you just don't really know anyone's story. And so you may find that whatever stage you are, beginner or otherwise, or whatever your history is with fitness stuff, you may find that there's people that you can relate to in a place like this, and it may be the person that you least expect is who can relate to your situation the most, and you may find that very supportive. So I just want to say, like, if you don't go to a gym, or you don't go to a gym like this, you may actually find it a really kind of supportive environment and meet all the right sorts of people. So just sort of throw that in there. And then beginners in general, I think that there has to be an order to these things, because there's so much to learn about nutrition and exercise physiology, and recovery methods, and PEDs, and contest strategies, and all this kind of thing that you get bamboozled if you try and take it on all at once. So I think that particularly if you start young and you've got loads of time, just do it one stage at a time. And I think for me, I'd recommend that the first stage would be like picking out the hardest and most fundamental compound lifts and just getting good at those in a safe way to begin with, like once or twice a week. And from there, feel your recovery improving, that you're not so sore afterwards. Add a few more exercises of those kind of fundamental types to your repertoire from good resources like Frederick Delavier's books that I've mentioned on the channel loads of times. And then on the nutrition side, a few months after that, just learn how to cook whole food. If you're younger, perhaps volunteer to help with the cooking at home to master that and do recipes that are based on whole foods, and just learn where protein, carbs and fats are coming from basically meat, vegetables, fruits, grains, but not the processed ones, and just eat 3 meals a day of that sort. Don't bother about counting anything too early. And then when you get a bit more serious than that, like take a bodybuilding routine, like a split routine, sort of off the shelf one, it's probably still too early to see where your weak points are, and do that. And then do a meal plan diet once you're responsible for your own food, and start tracking your weight and your measurements from there, and just ever so slightly adjusting, and really like build up a foundation like that. Learn about cutting down maybe once or twice, and see how you get on. And for most people, that's probably going to be enough. Like in a lot of the content on this channel, that would cover you just from the workout videos, so enough from there. And then it's really, if you wanted to be competitive or really look like a bodybuilder, that you'd have to learn about the realm of PEDs and stuff like that. But in my opinion, it's hard to put a time on when that becomes appropriate or possible, or perhaps like something worth doing, because someone could work really, really hard for 3 or 4 years and be more than ready for that, or someone could sort of dither around for 6, 7, 8 years and still not really be ready to get best use of that. So it's hard to put a time on it, but I think we should be talking like years rather than weeks or months, and to sort of master hard training, master getting your condition and your strength, factors like that going in a certain direction under your control according to your diet, and that'll give you a good 2 or 3 years of work there. So I think that's the way to begin these things, and what to focus on in what order when it comes to getting into anything to do with changing your body through weight training and diet, I suppose. So that's been my day at Bodyworks, meeting people, and it's always when I talk to other people I get the best ideas for what to talk about on the channel. So if there's something you think I should talk about more, just pop it in the comments and I'll be on that as soon as possible. The next workout is looking like arms, possibly with one of my trainees again. So I'm getting more videos where it's not just me. Make sure you catch the Wesley interview from last weekend if you didn't see that already, and make sure you subscribe for all this coverage showing you every part of bodybuilding as best I can. Talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.